TEMA Talk is a BS-free zone with smart, funny and educational conversations with entrepreneurs and business owners sharing their stories and insights designed to help you succeed. The result is a video vault of wisdom, strategies and tactics on how to grow your business by increasing revenue, reducing costs and amplifying your market share. Welcome to TEMA Talk, the B2B show created to help entrepreneurs and CEOs succeed. Here is your host, business growth architect and founder of TEMA, Carl M. Gibbons.
And so welcome to another edition of TEMA Talk. Now, joining me today is a guy who has come down to Southwest Florida. He and his wife set up this podcast called the Good Neighbor Podcast. And that's exactly what they've been doing. And I've got to tell you people, it's taken the place by storm. They've now done over 150 of these podcasts. They invite local businesses. It doesn't matter what you do, who you are, how long you've been in business or what it is that you do. And they have Charlie has a chat with you, and then it gets posted on all the normal social media distribution centers that you would think of. And also it gets sent back to the person that they've been interviewing for them to use as a part of their marketing collateral. And I was very kindly invited to be a part of the Good Neighbors podcast. And I have to tell you people, I was so impressed. I'd never heard of these guys before. I didn't know what it was all about. And if the truth be told, I didn't even check it out. I was just sort of like, okay, it's a podcast. We'll do it. It's 15 minutes out of my life. It's like, let's make it happen. And I got to tell you, it blew me away. So I thought it's time to, what's that saying we have back in the UK? Poacher turn gamekeeper, or gamekeeper turn poacher. It's about time we turn tables on him. So I want to welcome to TEMA Talk, Charlie McDermott. Charlie, welcome.
Carl, thank you. I really appreciate this. This is my first time being on the other side here, so this is cool.
Well, a whole bunch of people have given me manila envelopes and said, really take it to him, really give it to him, Gibbons, really give it to him, Gibbons. So not that I can be influenced for 1 minute by that kind of thing, you understand. But anyway, Charlie, before we get into Good Neighbors, talk to us a little about Charlie McDermott, your wife Barbara. You came down here. I want you to give us the sort of the 10-cent tour. Tell us what brought you down here. Tell us about your life before you got down here, and tell us about your life now.
Happy. I guess first and foremost, we're a fan of business. You know, we know how difficult it is for entrepreneurs, even these so-called successful ones. They typically have their own story, their challenges, and every day, especially with what's going on with COVID, is a challenge for most. And you know, I have fun with entrepreneurs. I let them know, you know, we're in the missing gene club. You know, who in God's name would go through jump through the hoops that we've jumped through just to make less than what we could have made at typically a 9 to 5 job, right?
I hear you.
I got started in the entrepreneurial world back in Westchester, Pennsylvania, right outside of Philadelphia. And I was a wrestler. And back then, this is the early 80s, there was no place to work out. And which I thought was kind of odd because the college did a lot of sports, you know, had football teams and all that. And so I was all about, geez, there's an opportunity here in this town to have a gym, place for people to work out. And within a few years later, before I knew it, we were opening up a gym. And I had some good luck and good fortune. But at the end of the day, it was, you know, it was one of those, I didn't know what I didn't know. And fortunately, I didn't know because I was a health and PE major.
Isn't that the best place to be, right? Because if you knew, you'd never do it, right?
Right. So my first month in business, all my buddies, it's March in Pennsylvania, cold, snow on the ground. They're all leaving for Fort Lauderdale for spring break. Yeah. And I'm sitting in this empty wasteland of a health club because we have no members at this point. And I'm going, what did I do? Yeah. But fortunately, it became very, very successful, and it parlayed into eventually 5 clubs that parlayed into a monster 120,000 square foot multi-pool restaurant, you know, country club, health club. So, and that was what Barb and I did for 23 years. And then we sold that, and we did some different things, and ended up taking a vacation to Fort Myers Beach. Our experience with Florida was Disney.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Neighbors said, wintertime, you got to go at least as far as Fort Myers Beach.
Right.
So we said, okay. And we got down here, went on a bike ride one day, and next thing we know, we're living here. And that was 2015. So we both had digital businesses. I had a digital marketing agency at the time, and Barb has a health coaching business. And so we could do that wherever. And we said, enough of the cold. Here we are. And so
I think that everybody I talk to, that's, if you like, the implant, like we all, it's the same story. I knew as soon as I got off the plane. I came here at an invitation of what turned out to be a client, and I'd never heard of the place, didn't know the place, got off at RSW, and it was like, yep, this is it. For me, it wasn't a case of if, it was a case of when, and I get the same feeling from you.
Yep.
What's this digital marketing agency all about? What's that?
Well, so we sold our clubs, and part of the reason we sold our clubs is because our oldest son got into acting, and we were in Pennsylvania, and unfortunately LA was not down the street, so we decided to bring him out there because of opportunities. So Barb and I did the tag team parenting thing for 2 years and lived out in Los Angeles, and when I came back, it was like, start anew. And this whole digital thing was happening. I mean, YouTube was just starting, and Facebook, and, there were a lot of business owners that were unsure about, many didn't even have websites. So as I started with this interview, I'm a big fan of business, and there was a lot of pain in my community in the Philadelphia area with business owners trying to figure that out, on top of juggling the 39 other balls every single day. So I stepped in and helped them on the consulting side, as well as just getting stuff done. The one thing that's pretty much a common thread for most business owners is they just don't have enough time to get everything done, obviously. So we did a lot of done for you services so that they just got the stuff done. They didn't care how, they didn't want to know about the whole digital aspects and SEO and link building. They just do it.
They didn't speak fluent Klingon. Is that what you're trying to tell me? Right? Why is it I've never met anybody from that world that can't just talk to me in English? Just tell me in English, or American. I'm fluent in both. Just tell me tell me what it is that you're trying to say. Yeah. I don't speak fluent Klingon. So, do you still have the digital marketing agency? Is that still around? Is that still active?
So about 3-4 years ago, Barb's coaching business really evolved into something, and that came out of our daughter, our middle child, was diagnosed as a type 1 diabetic at age 16, and she had some pretty serious health issues because of that for 6 years, and Barb did nothing but focus on trying to help her, which she did. And she now has her own business. She lives on the other side of Florida and all that. It's another driving force why we're here. She just does better blood sugar wise in the warm weather. So when she figured out how to help our daughter a lot, because we were in the health club business and people knew us, and they looked at her and said, oh my goodness, what happened to you? Organically, folks would come to Barb with everything from weight issues to diabetes to cancer to all kinds of health challenges. And she was helping them, and it got to the point where I could see her burning out because, as consulting and coaching, is a tough grind. So I said, hey, let me help you with this. So I helped set up her membership site and website and do all the digital stuff, and focused on that rather than my digital agency.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Excellent. And I also understand that Barbara's got a publishing company as well. Is that right?
Now she has a best-selling book called Food BS, and the second one is in the works. So Why
am I talking to you? Why am I wasting my time here?
I right before your interview,
get the talent on the show.
Last chance. She's a much better interview, I'm telling you.
Hey, man, let's get the brains of the outfit on here. Come on, because clearly, no, just teasing. All right, Good Neighbor Podcast. Why?
Yeah. So
why?
We spend our days talking with business owners. We as in Barb and myself.
Yeah.
And right around the beginning of April, this thing hit us called COVID.
Right.
And we're now talking with business owners who are kind of scared, uncertain, and talking about, geez, do I pay rent or put food on my table? How many employees do I lay off? And it was just literally probably the second weekend in April, Barbara and I were sitting outside going, how can we help? What can we do? And, the answer is not much, but we came up with this concept of the Good Neighbor podcast simply because we saw one of the things I did for Barb and her business was starting the podcast. And we saw what that did, getting the word out. I mean, getting the word out as far away as Australia. And we thought, well, geez, if we could help local businesses, if nothing else, let the community know that they're still here, put a voice behind the company. And so Monday rolled around. I said, well, let me make a few calls and see if there's any interest. And as you said, now we're 150 plus interviews later. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun, get to know a lot of folks and hear a lot of awesome stories.
Right. And the thing that's impressed me most about your entire process is your process. And I encourage all our viewers to go check it out. I encourage you all to contact Charlie and see if you can get on there. But what I loved was it was a complete package. I've been on podcasts, TV, like all over the world, and you go on, you do it. Thank you very much. I've had the good ones, I've had the bad ones, and it's goodbye, right? But you guys delivered an entire package, and I keep using that word, and I think I need to explain what I mean by that to our viewers. You sent me graphics that I could instantly put on any of my social media posts. You sent me all of the appropriate links. You delivered an entire workable, instant, if you like, in a box, marketing in a podcast in a box, marketing collateral. Whereas the vast majority of the time, it's up to the entrepreneur, having been given the opportunity, they then have to do the work to put it all together. That's what I liked about it. And I also like the format because you use the Zoom format like we're on now, correct? But you only use the digital file, the audio file, correct?
Yep.
So again, there's a much better interaction rather than just this. So COVID is not going to be with us forever. All right? We know that. We also know that there's no going back. There's only going forward, and things are evolving. So what's going to happen to About Good Neighbor? Where does it go? What comes next?
That's a great question, and
you knew that was coming, right? You knew.
Yeah. What the offshoot of this has been that a lot of companies will say to us, "Geez, that was fun. Wasn't what I thought," and I'd really like to do this myself, or I've thought about doing this. I don't even know where to begin. So some of the interviews have morphed into us producing podcasts, which we had no intention of doing, but it's just one of those because Barb and I, so the way we structure our day, Carl, and you can probably hear my voice is a little hoarse. We schedule the interviews in the afternoon, and we do our, what I call paying the bills work in the mornings. And the paying the bills work is we have neighborhood publications, as you know, that we might go target areas in Naples and East Estero and Fort Myers.
Yeah.
So we have very, very full days, and Saturday I couldn't even talk. That was one of those weeks. But I absolutely love it. But so, with the interviews in the afternoon and they have morphed into podcasts that have become a great way. Again, a big fan of businesses. I see an opportunity here based on my experience with digital marketing and where we're going. As that there are a lot of smart business owners out there, and they've seen it and they've tapped into podcasts. But the secret is still a secret, and so there's an opportunity for businesses. I talk about the podcast being a radio show, right? The difference is you don't have to buy airtime anymore. You can have your own show, and how significant could that be for your business? And so what if you're local? So what if someone in Australia hears your podcast? Awesome. But it's those who are in your community that can listen to it and get to know you and build that know, like, trust factor.
Right.
So the just to finish, the future of the Good Neighbor podcast, we've done 150, and I estimate between 7,000 to 10,000 businesses in our metropolitan area. So we have a long ways to go before we're at a point of ending that.
Okay. So a few questions now. Help me understand. Why doesn't About Good Neighbors podcast have its own Facebook page, have its own LinkedIn page, have its own YouTube page? Because you deliver, I've said it earlier on, you deliver this great product, but unless I go to Good Neighbors website, that's the only place I can find it. And I think you would build a terrific community, a great Good Neighbors community very fast if there was access to all of these interviews on social media. Is it just another, Carl, I need another job like I need a hole in the head, right? Because I understand that a lot.
Right. No, you're dead on. It's something I do have an administrative person to help us out, and a couple of vacations and whatnot later, and she's backed up, so it's on the list.
Okay.
It will be coming along. It's just one of those.
Okay.
Time.
It's on the to-do list.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you find that certain businesses or certain sectors are far more receptive to the opportunity than others?
Our biggest challenge is convincing someone that we're not charging them anything for this.
Right.
They just, there are some folks that flat out don't believe us, and they, so I'd say that's the biggest challenge, because, and I get it, it's like, well, you must be charging something. Oh no,
Okay.
we're just doing this for COVID. I'd say right now it's the companies that are working outside. So it's the patio builders and outdoor kitchens and folks like that who are, we're having conversations with some of these businesses, and they're telling us just last week, the one gentleman said the first week of July, they had already done a full month's worth of sales.
Right.
So for these guys and gals, it's just a matter of pinning them down. So those are the toughest ones to get the interviews with right now.
Right. So the entrepreneur comes out to me now and begs the question: if somebody's there saying to you, what do I have to pay for this? Then why not say, okay, there's two ways of looking at this. Either A, sure, if you want to pay me, that's fine. But let's take it to it. But before everybody gets on there, starts texting me, Gibbons, you're just a money monster. What about taking it one step further and saying, okay, well, we do it for free, but if you want to make a donation of a couple of $100, we'll give it to the so-and-so charity. A charity. Pick three charities. We've got a list of 5 charities here. Yeah. Pick one. We'll make a donation. We'll donate the total amount to them on your behalf.
That's a great idea. That is a great idea. Yep.
And so now we're elevating it now, and so they can now see the good that you're doing. The contribution they're making is now going literally back into the Good Neighbor and the community.
And that's really the spirit of why we formed this. And we have some other ideas. Actually, Barbara and I have discussed, once we get to a certain level and find the time, is doing exactly that. Having some kind of a foundation where businesses are supporting the community in various different ways, whether it be focusing on donating to nonprofits and so forth. Because talk about getting hammered during COVID, right?
Right.
All those events are done, and they can really use the help.
Yeah. I think I shared this a couple of episodes. I haven't a single live gig on my schedule for the next 12 months. Everyone cancelled. Everyone. Now, are they all going like this? Are they all going virtual? just over a third. Just over a third. Some of them have just given up and said, "That's it, done." So I think that transition is very difficult for some people. And I also think as well, it's a different skill set. I think we're going to see. We all know who the rock star stage speakers are and the presenters are, right? But it's a different skill set. It's a different talent when you are here. And I think we are going to see a whole new rafter of speakers that are going to be, if you like, the rock stars for virtual presentations as opposed to the stage presentations. And I've so far I've only seen one who crosses the line on both, and that's Victor Antonio, and he's just as good on stage as he is virtually. But I've seen some of the big boys literally crash and burn. Like, nope, you can't handle this media. So talking about that, Charlie, without mentioning names to protect the innocent, you've got to have some fun stories, right? We're going to go live in 3, 2, 1, and then it's.
I really, one of my concerns starting this was going to be it's going to be a nightmare to edit. That there's going to be all kinds of issues and that the deer in the headlights look at the beginning, and one of the first things I do is just remind everyone that this is a casual conversation. We're on a couch in your living room just talking, and we've had so many what we call podcast virgins. They've never done anything like this before, and there are times where Barb has had to talk the introverts into showing up because they're just like petrified. And I am stunned at how well this has gone. Very rarely do we have, I'd say our biggest challenge would be the I call the ummers, right? And what's that?
Ums, oohs, and ahs.
Yep. So occasionally we have to what I call de-ummify an audio, but other than that, it really is meant to be like this. Let's just be ourselves, share some great information, and it's as simple as that. So, yeah, I don't have any crazy stories.
What about a who knew story? What about I had no idea. I thought I was just going to be talking to Jimmy the Builder, and I made that up, by the way. I was just going to be talking to Jimmy the Builder, and all of this stuff came out. Who knew?
This happens quite often. During the interview, I get to know where these folks are from, and I find out that those connections are there. Teresa and one of your clients, KGT.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Greg and Teresa.
Yeah. So Greg, I find out is a graduate of Henderson High School, which is our town. So I'm going. So it's been more of that as some awesome stories. I'll tell you what, the one interview that stands out is Norman Love. Norman Love.
Norman.
Chocolates. Yep. And what an inspiring, great story, great presentation. That certainly that one is a good one. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. So
they're all good. But
everybody go check out the Norman Love interview. All right. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's find out. We've talked about the Good Neighbor podcast. Let's find out now a little bit more about Charlie. We always like to dedicate the last portion of the show to Carl's Dirty 35. So I have 35 questions. I've got 35 questions in front of me. The good news is I'm not going to ask you all 35.
I was going to say.
All right. But I'm just gonna dip and pick from the list, and we'll see where it takes us. Right? No need to overthink it. Let's just see where it goes. Best piece of business advice you were ever given?
Best piece of business advice. Commit first, figure it out later.
Okay. Biggest misstep or mistake you've made in business?
Thinking too small.
Okay, excellent one. Where do you think new business owners should spend most of their time?
Sales and marketing.
Okay. We all have those days where where that little guy sits on our shoulder and goes, Charlie, you don't want to do that. Okay. The feeling of self-doubt, the imposter syndrome. How does Charlie deal with that?
Structure, number one, staying busy, so that you don't have time for those thoughts.
Okay. So I can see some books on your desk behind you. What book had the biggest impact on your business?
Yeah, speaking of which, there it is. I reference this all the time.
The 10X.
The 10X rule. Yep.
You're a Grant fan, right? You're a Grant guy.
I am, yeah.
All right. Okay. What do you think is your most marked characteristic?
Marked characteristic. Operating under a sense of urgency would be.
Okay. So when Charlie wants to get all hyped up, what's the tune? What's the song that he listens to? What's that one that?
I mean, Philadelphia guy, it's got to be the Rocky theme, right?
All right. So, Health Club King, digital marketing guru, podcast wizard. What else would you like to try?
I'd say musician.
Okay. All right. What do you consider to be your greatest achievement to date?
The family.
Okay. Which living person do you most admire?
Living person. Oh, yeah. Man, you stumped me on that one.
All right.
Yeah.
What's your most favorite business word?
That urgency piece keeps coming up. Maybe it's because of COVID, that we're
okay.
A lot of people are on standby waiting until this clears. And I'm all about, nah, man, now's the time to increase market share, not wait.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. What do you consider the most overrated virtue?
Overrated virtue, patience.
Your most treasured possession?
Don't have many. Yeah, that one's a blunt. Right. I mean, we're not talking people or anything, family or anything. So no, I don't have that.
Does Charlie have a mantra or a motto?
No.
Okay. What do you most value in a friend or business colleague?
Yeah, someone who's going to be there in the dark times and the high times.
All right. Okay. What's Charlie's idea of heaven?
Mm-hmm. Maybe doing what we're doing every single day, working, being involved with passionate people, doing things you're passionate about,
okay,
and providing value.
All right. Last two. Does Charlie want to be in control, or does Charlie want to be in charge?
I don't think you're ever in control, so I would have to default to in charge.
Okay. All right. Last one. We ready?
I'm ready.
If this program could connect you with anybody, prince, potentate, pauper, doesn't matter. But when they watch this, they look at it and say, get me Charlie McDermott. I've got to speak to him. Who's it going to be?
And what comes to mind, Carl, would be a generalized entrepreneur that is has their head in the sand and waiting for COVID to end. It's let's make it happen now. Let's not wait.
Call him. Call him right now. Email him right now. Text him right now. Email him right now. Whatever you got to do, call him. It'll be the best conversation you've had for a long time. So how are they going to do that, Charlie? How are they going to, where do they go? How do they email you? How do they contact you?
It's funny. I always joke with my interviewees about not knowing their own office phone number, and I always say, hey, that's me. So I have written.
So you wrote it down, or you've got it on a notepad right above the camera, right?
So it's 239-224-4105, and it is the website Good Neighbor Podcast, and that's singular podcast.com. goodneighborpodcast.com. Email is let's see if I can remember that. Good Neighbor Podcast plural, just to confuse everyone. Good Neighbor Podcast plural @gmail.com.
You don't put the plural in, by the way, for those of you that are a bit slow like me. All right, okay, we'll put it all up on the screen. It'll all be up on Facebook and YouTube and the whole thing. It'll be down at the bottom of the screen, so it'll all be there. Charlie, thanks so much. That's it, people. Another 30 minutes of business banter and badinage has just flown by. Our thanks to our guest, Charlie McDermott, and all the team at Good Neighbor Podcast. A special thanks to the team at Guerilla Media for making all of this happen. I don't know how they do it. They twiddle their knobs, they work their magic, and here it is. I want to thank you guys for watching, and don't forget, please visit TEMA's Video Vault of Wisdom at thirdeyemanagement.com, and where we share all the other TEMA talks with you, and all our episodes contain strategies and tactics for you to grow your business. So until the next time, I want you to stay safe, I want you to stay in touch, but most importantly, I want you to stay profitable. And with that, we are out.